Mykhailo Mudryk has tested positive for banned substances. Ademola Lookman is officially the best African player in the world. And Manchester United are open to selling Marcus Rashford. All of that and much more in today's Football Fix. If you enjoy the video, subscribe for more. In today's episode, we will start with the news of Wolves getting their new manager. They previously sacked Gary O'Neill, and now they are looking at Vitor Pereira. Some of their previous targets, like David Moyes and Graham Potter, have reportedly turned them down, and so maybe they've utilised their links with Jorge Mendes, and Vitor Pereira, who has been managing in the Saudi League, is on his way to England. And on the 17th of December, he is set to arrive, sign all final contracts, and he should be in charge for the match, a big one against Leicester City at the weekend. Dele Alli is training with Como over in Italy. He was seen at their most recent game, and it has been confirmed by their coach, Cesc Fabregas, that he is set to train with the club. If he impresses and shows that he is worthy of sticking around, then they will sign him up, as he has had struggles over the past few years, and maybe this is finally his chance to revitalise his career. Ronaldo Nazario, aka R9, aka El Fenomeno, the Brazilian monster striker, is officially a presidential candidate. Very different career path from what he was doing previously. However, this is not the first time that we have seen this happen in sports. You have had people like George Weah also go into the political world, and outside of football, but in terms of football games, if you play FC and the EA series, then in the past, whenever a player has gone into the politics part of the world, they have been removed from the game. So R9 may no longer be an icon if he does manage to get this presidential role, or maybe even just because he has gone so far into the political side of things. We also saw another Brazilian icon in the past, Romario, get removed from the game for similar reasons. The news that Ademola Lookman has officially been crowned the best African player in the world. He has been amazing. Over the past couple of years since moving to Atalanta, his career has completely shot up. He had time at Everton, he had time at Leicester, and he has moved around all over the place, even going over to other European leagues, but Atalanta seems to be his home. The system is suiting him perfectly. He scored that hat-trick in the European final recently to stop Bayer Leverkusen from having the invincible treble season. He was the guy that stopped it. And at the CAF Awards, he has officially been crowned the Men's Player of the Year, beating out the likes of Mohamed Salah. Very well deserved. He has been amazing. Does he deserve over Salah? Maybe because of what he has achieved in terms of trophies for the club, and that one match and moment against Bayer Leverkusen. Pep Guardiola has confirmed he has no plans to resign from Manchester City. There are crazy people out there in the world that think that because of this run of form that he should either be sacked or he should step down from his position, and he has basically said no. It's obviously a very, very rough patch. He's come out with some sarcastic comments in the last few weeks. He's basically seeming like he can't figure out what to do right now because this doesn't happen to Pep. Ruben Amorim has had more wins against Manchester City in the last 11 games than Pep has had. It's kind of crazy what we're seeing right now, but he is contracted till 2027. He, of course, signed that new contract very recently, and he will not be leaving until the end of that. Even if they are guilty of all of these charges and they get relegated, Pep has said he is not going anywhere, which is why he signed that new contract. Manchester United have launched an investigation to find out who is leaking stuff out of the club. This has been something that's gone on for years at Man United. It goes on at other clubs as well, but United are one of the biggest ones for it, especially when it comes to lineups for match days and the starting 11s and who's going to be benched and left out of the squad. There have been numerous rumours of different players being this incredible leaker that is giving everything to the media and different Twitter accounts and Mark Goldbridge and people like this. There's been rumours of Garnacho and Ahmad and Rashford, but United have officially launched an investigation into it. Ruben Amorim has supposedly spoken to Garnacho and Ahmad and confronted them about it, and he also commented on it in a press conference where he joked with a reporter that maybe he'll find out the starting 11 before he even confirms it. And speaking of Manchester United, they are open to Rashford leaving as early as January, this upcoming one in a month's time. Supposedly, Ruben Amorim is not a huge fan of his performances and the way that he is trying to fit into this system, which is why you've seen him a little bit out of position at times and not working hard enough, and even if he's getting a goal, not putting in the greatest of performances. And he also had the interview the other day, which I'm sure you probably saw, talking a little bit out of context. Some of the quotes were coming out, but whether it comes to on-field or off-field decisions, everything is up to him. And so talking about fashion and off-the-field activities, we've obviously seen Rashford get called out for going clubbing and stuff recently. And supposedly, this is the reason why Amorim doesn't feel that highly of Rashford. Man United need a bit of a rebuild on-field and off-field, and Rashford is seen as a big part of that, reportedly. And so he would cost anywhere between 40 to 55 million pounds. There aren't a crazy amount of clubs that are supposedly interested in him. However, PSG have a long-term interest, and every single transfer window, there's always a rumour that comes up that PSG want Rashford. So could this finally be their time to try and get him if they cannot get their hands on Kvicha Kvaratskhelia? Neymar wants to sign for Inter Miami when his Al Hilal contract runs out. This is a really fun story because it pretty much means MSN reunion could happen. That trio, one of the best, if not the best, that football has ever seen, could be playing together once again over in America if Neymar does end up going there. I personally, and I don't like to normally bring personal things into these videos, I would love to see it happen just because MSN were so good to watch together. However, seeing Neymar waste really the latter stages of his career by going over to Saudi was already bad enough. It feels like this is basically him throwing in the towel, saying that, yeah, I'm just going to go over to the MLS. I could go to a European team and potentially get back in the Champions League and show how good I am. Or is it an injury thing? After that injury that ruled him out for basically his whole first season at Al Hilal, does he just not think that he's going to be able to get back to that level? And therefore, why not have fun with the remainder of my career? I guess we'll have to wait and see. The massive story that has broken tonight is that Mudryk has tested positive for PEDs. Tribunal are reporting that as per their sources, Mykhailo Mudryk has tested positive in a doping test. In the A sample, a banned substance has been found. This test was taken at the end of October, and if this kind of thing happens, then they always take a B sample, sometimes a C, D, E, and the B sample is expected to be announced and the results seen in the coming days. This could be absolutely catastrophic for Mudryk and for Chelsea, but there are also positives potentially for Chelsea because Mudryk is one of those players that has signed these crazy long deals, but there can potentially be contract break clauses if it's nothing to do with the club and it is something specifically that Mudryk has done himself. Then there might be a break clause for Chelsea where they can just terminate his contract and get that money, the wages and everything gone and him out the club. Cut their losses because he's not worked out. He's shown a few fleeting moments of quality, but nothing incredible. So we will have to keep reporting on this and see what happens in the upcoming days because this is massive. We obviously saw what happened with Pogba. We've seen Andre Onana in the past and other players that have had these positive doping tests come back and how it has rocked multiple careers over the years. So Mudryk, supposed to be this young starlet coming over to the Premier League and ripping it up, Not only has he underperformed, has he tried to take something in order to try and break his way back in and become that superstar? We will only have to wait and see. Our penultimate story is that Benzema could be set to retire at the end of the season. He moved over to the Saudi League in that swathe of players that made the move to that side of the world, and supposedly he's not thoroughly enjoying his time over there and feels like he is getting towards the end of his playing career. Doesn't really fancy coming back to Europe because he's just not quite at that level, which I guess is why he went over to Saudi in the first place, and he could be set to retire once his contract runs out. And our final story today is that Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall could be set to return to Leicester City as short as 6 months after leaving to Chelsea in the summer. And this is because Chelsea are open to both KDH and Carney Chukwuemeka leaving on loan in January. Kind of crazy that they would spend so much money on Dewsbury-Hall. Under Maresca last season, he was his main man. But at Chelsea, they have slightly altered this system, and Dewsbury-Hall has found himself on the sidelines, or not even that. A lot of the time out of the squad, unless it's in the Conference League or Cup games. And so a return to Leicester could happen. However, if it was to be on loan, they would have to cancel one of their two of Buonanotte or Odsonne-Edouard, as you're only allowed 2 at a time. There are going to be many clubs coming in for Chukwuemeka if he is available to leave on loan in January. And that is how we're going to end off today's video. We'll see you for the next one.